Hi everyone, my name is Mehdi and I am a postdoc at Katy Borden's lab. Our team tries to understand how gene expression regulation contribute to cancer. I will start by telling you about my story. It's a personal story, it's not a generalization, but maybe some of you would relate. I was born and raised in a very loving family with my parents and my two sisters. And thanks to my parents, I had the chance to grow up in a very caring and stable environment. And even throughout my educational journey, during which I had to face ups and downs, hardships, I lived and faced very hard life experiences, and I needed to learn very hard life lessons. Even during this time, my parents were always there with their help, guidance, and advice. Until the day I graduated, and with the needed background and necessary maturity, I was able to go out there and be an active and useful member of society. What's the link of this story with what I have to say today? That's what we will figure out after a few minutes. Now, I consider the central figure of my story as my parents and not me, because they were the chaperones that guided me throughout all the steps of my journey. Let's now switch to another story. I will tell you about the story of RNA. RNA is this mobile form of DNA. It's basically a transporter of the genetic information and could be a regulator of this genetic information. This molecule will be translated into a machine called protein that will play a specific function in the cell, and it will guarantee the proper functioning of the cells. Now, for the RNA to get to these steps where it's ready to be translated into a protein, it needs to go through what we call a maturation process. As soon as the transcription begins, RNA will receive its first protection through the addition of the structure called cap. Also, introns needed to be removed from the premature RNA, and that's what we call splicing. Finally, to signal the end of the transcription, 3' end of these mRNAs will be cleaved and a poly-A tail will be added to confer stability, but also additional downstream regulation layers. So once the RNA completes all these maturation processes, it will graduate from the nucleus and will be exported to the cytoplasm to be translated. So now I think you start to maybe to see the analogy between these two stories, right? And as for my story, we are looking at my parents as the central figure. Now we start to look for a central figure in this story, in the story of RNA, which is the constant figure that will chaperone RNA throughout its maturation journey. And maybe from this picture, we would guess that something that is related to the cap structure, because the cap is there from the beginning. And that's what we thought in the lab too. So we worked on a cap binding a protein called eIF4E. Now, the most common function of 4E is the regulation of translation in the cytoplasm. But it's very important to know that overexpression of 4E in cancer, and specifically in acute myeloid leukemia, is correlated with its enrichment in the nucleus. Now, nuclear functions of 4E have been overlooked until recently, but our lab was able to identify new nuclear functions of 4E, specifically involved in RNA metabolism. So in the lab, we follow global strategy when we look for AML, acute myeloid leukemia specimens with high eIF4E levels profile, and we compare them to AML patient specimens with normal eIF4E profile. We also work on generated stable cell lines that overexpress eIF4E. We perform RNA deep sequencing with different approaches on all of these models, and in tandem with various bioinformatic tools that we adapt to look for specific maturation processes and events, we were able to characterize more the involvement of 4E or the impact of 4E dysregulation on these maturation processes. Note that for AML patient specimens, patients with high eIF4E levels present a lower survival rate compared to the normal eIF4E profile. We also used the common approaches, cell biology, molecular biology, and biochemistry techniques to investigate more the mechanistic side of this impact on RNA maturation. I will just summarize our findings here. We found actually our lab was able to identify the capping signature, the splicing signature, and alternative polyadenylation signature of 4E dysregulation. And that's huge because it shows that dysregulation of one unique factor, which is 4E here, can heavily impact the whole RNA maturation process in the cells. And on the mechanistic side, I just made a small cartoon to summarize our findings. Actually, in the lab, we found that 4E can associate with the 3' end processing machinery, the cleavage and polyadenylation machinery, with the capping machinery, but also with multiple subcomplexes of the spliceosome. So here, when you look at this big picture, you see 4E as a central figure that as a model and hypothesis and as a cap binding protein would be a cap chaperone that will guide and coordinate between all these mRNA maturation steps. Now, we completed this second story of the RNA when we positioned eIF4E as central figure and as needed a protein to guide RNAs through their maturation processes, and how the dysregulation of eIF4E could impact heavily on the transcriptome landscape, and consequently, it would have a huge impact on the proteome landscape in terms of sequence and activity, and that would explain, in part, the oncogenic potential of 4E. So all this work was done thanks to all my lab mates and partners, and with the support of financial support of many organizations. And thanks for your listening.